Welcome back, friends of Frisbee and fine folks at home, to this, the final game of our tournament play for this, the second day of the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships, held here kindly at the beautiful Puna Sports Hub, some of the best fields in the country in beautiful Christchurch. Our match for the Open Division in the pre-semi-finals, quarter-finals, we have Dogmax facing off against Hammertron, Tawhiri. My name is Blair Monroe, and it is an absolute privilege to be here with you, to be your eyes and ears on the ground, talking you through the action. We have a very little wind at ground level, about 2 kilometers per hour coming from an easterly direction. So we'll talk you through what that means on the field in just a moment. Temperature currently 20 degrees Celsius. So it's a great opportunity for these players to really warm themselves up. That wind is coming sort of from the right-hand side of your screen towards the left. But first up, Dogmax from the Canterbury region. Samuel Teolina, it says our captain, Cameron Bennett, Ewan Weimer. Michaela Dignam, one of the few lady players playing in the Open Division. Well done for her, but she's a threat on any team. Richard Fernando, Simon Goss, Declan Grogan, Chi Wai Wong, Justin Lee, Adam Menang, Samuel Aguiar, Sam Powick, Andrew Hislop, Tom Worden, Theo McIntosh, Matthew Staunton, Morgan O'Hara, and Luam Mance. And coached by Taki Morehu Cookson and Matua Ian McLaren, Hammertron, Tawhiri, Michael Downey, Taki Cookson, Ian McLaren, David Jackson, the Lanky Yankee, Hamish Furness, Tony Franson, Adam Keenan, Hon O Yang, Alex Deo, Oliver Houghton, Vaughan Wilson, Lucas and Kent Wilcock, the brothers on the field, Jaden Frost, Lehigh Kapoor, and as always, Manaya Taiapa, Manny.ia on Instagram. So the wind is picking up a little bit. Looks like Hammertron playing on defense initially from the left-hand side of your screen, targeting the right. Some youth on this line. And also a lot of experience. We're seeing Taki, Michael Downey, Tony Franson, Ian McLaren, Jaden Frost, Alex Dio, and Oliver Houghton. So the first point of the game kicks off. Dogmax on defense, the pull going out of bounds. Adam Menang to initiate the Dogmax offense. So that disc having gone out of bounds, it'll be brought in at about 18 meters in front of the defensive end zone in the middle of the field. You can see a slight X marked on your screen at the moment. Great initial movement by the disc there. Finding Wong. Great layout bid by Jaden Frost. Absolute monster on defense. Michael Downey looking to initiate. Finds Taki Cookson, far sideline. That same Hammertron offensive movement that we see, lots of shortcuts, lots of flow-based passes, trying to initiate offense rather than necessarily establish just long options downfield. Michael Downey in a great position. Fakes off as Dogmax applying great defensive pressure, just focusing on a man defense though. Matua Ian McLaren, center field, hoping to close out the first point of the game, getting a great break for the Tron. Finds Michael Downey, a great addition to the Hammertron D-line as we go one up over Dogmax. Some great work there by Hammertron. Tawhiri, the god of storms, unperturbed by the wind in otherwise sunny Christchurch. Now, the beginning of the day yesterday and all throughout yesterday, we had some very, very interesting weather that definitely had an impact on the quality of Frisbee that we saw. Not from the perspective of the players who gave everything and really poured it on. But just in terms of disc stability and things, it took a while for teams to adapt to that before they were really able to pour on that offense. Hammertron coming out at the end of an otherwise still day, very, very windy, but they're able to work through regardless. Getting great defense there. Dogmax to come out on offense again. Hammertron opting not to take any subs. Cameron Bennett. Grogan on offense for Dogmax. Signal for readiness is given. And a big pull from McLaren. Great shot, lot of roll. And so that will allow the Dogmax offense to bring the disc in from the corner. The wind seems to have changed a little bit. It's a little bit more upwind, downwind at the moment, so it's really targeting, as you can see by the flags in the distance. It's gonna make things very difficult. Menang sends a high shot up. Comes down in the wind. Alex Dio looking to thread through, finds Houghton. Over the top for Alex Dio for a great score. Back-to-back breaks for Hammertron on the defense line, coming in, putting in a lot of work. And it is one of the perils of this competitive ultimate, particularly when the weather isn't as calm as one might expect. Particularly the higher up those discs go, the more affected they are by the wind. So down at the ground level, the players aren't going to be feeling the wind necessarily to the same extent that we are up in the booth. But the players that are able to adapt to the wind earliest are the ones that are able to make their mark on the game first. So Hammertron Tawhiri going up 2 points over Dogmax. Dogmax hoping to come out with an offensive hold and a break of their own to tie up the score. They have the fantastic athleticism available, the disc skill, the field awareness to achieve it. Having had the opportunity to observe them in one of our warm-up tournaments, the Welly Wind-Up, seeing both of the Dogma teams, Dogmax and Dogmay, one of the clubs that's maintained an XY split as opposed to splitting into an A team and a B team like Wildcats, Wild Kittens, Hammertron, Tawhiri and their counterparts Tumatsoenga. One of the only teams managing to maintain an XY split because the level of skill and presence in that club, some of the big names in New Zealand Ultimate, the two teams are approximately equal anyway. Probably one of the more advanced and stacked clubs in the country in terms of Open Ultimate Credo, putting in some great work there. Cameron Bennett disc center field. Sam Lennart's making a great cut across the field, trying to open up space. Finding Dignam for a great continuation for Bennett, a perfect offensive hold for Dogmax. A great point by them. Hopefully we'll get to see that again. Michaela Dignam making great space on that near sideline. Doing absolute fantastic work and a comfortable continuation back. So we'll see that again. Dignam, lovely floating pass, well outside the reach of the defense there. Taki Cookson, known for his speed and fitness, but not quite enough to catch up with that disc as we go 2-1, still in favor of Hammertron, but as always, in Ultimate Frisbee, anybody's game. Now, I'm just getting some information here that as those two teams played previously, Dogmax and Dogmay, the score was incredibly close. So it seems I was right in that those two teams are incredibly competitive against one another. So there's no real clear winner when the two of those clash. Only a couple of points either way in the game making a difference. And realistically, had they played another game on any other day, it might have gone the other way. So great work there by Dogmax. Campbell Nauman with the pull. Fantastic player from the Canterbury region. It's a great high pull-up. A lot of flow, touching down just outside of bounds. Hamish Furness, number 7 for the Hammertron offense, who on reasonably good authority gave me the information that over a course of 4 offensive points, the first of 4 offensive points of their day, they only had to make 8 passes to complete those. And there we see one of them. A great put, a little bit early from the bid there, and it looks like an injury will be called. A great put there. Great extension, but there was definitely contact on that landing, which will have contributed to the injury. Number 31, Lucas Wilcock. A man known for his great play on the field and his questionable decisions off it, judging by his haircut. But we'll just stop play while we seek to resolve this incident. You can see on your screen the Zodiacs, who have had a couple of great games, some really strong performance today, patting a dog. And really, that's the kind of joy that is only comparable to something like playing Ultimate Frisbee on a great day down here in beautiful Christchurch at the Puna Sports Hub. So the wind seems to be picking up a lot as we take this momentary break in play. In fact, you can see in the background our Vitasport flag, one of the kind sponsors for this event. This flag has blown over, but Vitasport guaranteed to keep your players upright. And don't forget to stay tuned after this, because we have our fantastic showcase game as well, only on Facebook. But it's going to be a fantastic match between the New Zealand Taniwha, the men's team, and the New Zealand Barbarians, a team comprised of some of the greatest talent from around the country. Okay. Just some really, really fantastic talent from all around the country, proudly supported and brought to you by Sky Sport. So Sky Sport Next will actually be bringing that showcase game to you on YouTube as well for your perusal at any time. As we clear the young Mr. Wilcock off the field. Hopefully we'll have play resuming for your excitement and enjoyment shortly. So now, Dogmax with an opportunity to initiate their offense. As that incompleted pass, a great bid by Mr. Wilcock, just outside his fingertips and resulting in an unfortunate injury, will allow Dogmax to bring the disc in. We're seeing Campbell Nauman pinned down in that corner as our wind moves from that right to left direction on screen. Taki Morehu Cookson on the mark, applying great pressure there. Hammertron sticking to a person defense, maybe a bit more of a zone. A great shot goes up. David Jackson underneath. Theo McIntosh brings it down over the top. Finds Mance. Looked as though that first point of contact on the landing may have been on the line, which would constitute an out. But the play continues anyway. Campbell Nauman managing to go up and over for this one. So you'll see. So it might have been in contact with the line. Now in the sport of Ultimate, the perimeter lines are not considered part of the playing field, but nevertheless, once that mark is shifted, putting one out into space for Campbell Nauman. But it seems as though a pick might have been called, so we're just having a discussion as to whether or not that affected pursuit of the defense, or by the defense rather. Number 7, Hamish Furness, an old hand at New Zealand Ultimate. A famous name, particularly throughout Hammertron, who was unfortunately absent from Hammertron's performances on stream, or a lot of them, in the 2020 Mixed Ultimate Championships as he played for Hammertron Prime. So just talking about, by the looks of things, as to whether or not when he came down, he was actually invading the space above Furness's head. So players are not only entitled to their own space on the field, but the space above them. And as a player invades that space, it can cause a lot of issues. So the disc looks to have been returned. So Mance about 10 meters out from their own offensive end zone. A great opportunity here for Dogmax to put a second point on the board, bring the score back to 2-all. It's exactly what we want. We'd expect nothing less from one of these powerful Credo teams. Laser beam goes up. Lehigh Kapoor pulls it down. Almost impossible hops, but a conversation looks to be had as well, initiated by number 54 for Dogma, Fernando. And so a violation. We'll see what the resolution is there. Michael Downey, big fakes, hoping to shift the Dogmax defense. Looks to be sticking largely to a person defense there. Taiapa puts the long bomb up. Hamfish streaking deep. Great coverage. A layout bid, a huge layout bid, but it tumbles from the fingers. Players running so fast, their hats come clean off. You love to see it. Huge amount of pressure there from Dogma. Taiapa, what a powerful forehand. We've seen this player grow over the last couple of years into an absolute force on the field as he's matured, he's developed his skills, his field awareness. It's an absolute cannon unleashed. There goes the hat for number 7. A great layout, gets fingers to it, but not quite enough. Still managing to walk away with a smile. Classic Furness. Now putting those big wings on the mark, trying to shut down the Dogmax offense. As we enter the 18th minute of the game. Great quick initiation by Dogmax. Little touch, sends some wobble to it, but a layout keeps it in possession. Nauman with the disc now. Great target along that far sideline, finds Fernando. Big fake to shift the defense. Downey takes a bite. Big swing over the near sideline. Mance manages to get that great read. High over the top. Downey putting pressure on over Fernando, but it looks like there was a call made. Maybe the same again, the possibility of invading another player's headspace. So just a little bit of conversation as they figure out what would have happened had that foul not occurred, trying to come to the best conclusion. So just a reminder for those watching at home, the sport of Ultimate is self-officiated. There are no referees. You'll have noticed, particularly in this game and in other games throughout the tournament, players have been making their own calls, as it is an individual's responsibility to know the rules and to have those, be willing to have those conversations when those calls are made, and exhibiting great spirit of the game in doing so. Maintaining as strong a possible respect for oneself and one's opponents. And we see a cheeky high five as these two high-level competitive players come to the decision that will allow Dogmax to maintain offense. But that wind is picking up. We're seeing some great plays here by both teams, but in particular, some of these discs are coming out really, really high in the wind. It's adding that little bit of instability. It's putting that pressure on. Nauman sends a long bomb up. Great shot. Theo McIntosh gets underneath it, brings it down. What a heavy landing. But number 9, the lanky Yankee, seems to have called another. And again, this is why I will be looking for to push for a rules change in the 2024 World Flying Disc Federation update. The rule of cool, if a play looks that good, you kind of have to let them have it. Just an absolute smart bomb of a disc up and down. Theo McIntosh taking to the skies, stepping on air to pull that one down, but contact made, preventing the defense from making a clean play by the looks of things. So we'll see that again. Okay, so that seems to have been the call as the landing was there. The idea that the bid may not have been as clean. So rather than trying to target the disc, there was no regard there for other players underneath as there was contact on the landing. And so now there's a request for some alternative perspective, as we do have a lot of players in our field space who are going to have a bit of a chat about things. The wind picking up here at Ngā Sports Hub in Christchurch as players look to resolve this. This is an important game for both of these teams, and so it's important to recognize as an important game, it's important to recognize that both of these teams are playing incredibly competitively and perhaps maybe playing a little less clean than they otherwise might. A great point by number 10 for Dogmax. Goes up, pulls the disc down over Morehu Cookson. So we go 2-2, Dogmax and Hammertron Tawhiri. The score is tied. The wind picking up. We've got a little bit of a weather update. 20 kilometers an hour now from the initial 2 when the game started. So a huge impact that the conditions are going to have. Which team is going to make the quickest adaptation to the new conditions to be able to really drive their offense forward? Hammertron now coming out on offense. Although it looks like they've mixed lines a bit, so we're seeing some typical defensive players from that Tron line. So Ian McLaren and Michael Downey playing a lot of defense over the course of this tournament, but they've been pulled forward alongside Furness, Taiapa, Jackson, Kapoor, and Vaughan Wilson. A player who needs no introduction, as we spent a lot of the 2019 Mixed Ultimate Championships talking about him to the point where he started to get annoyed with me for using his full name. Great pull there by Dogmax. Wilson to Furness. Wilson, Taiapa pushing along that near sideline. Great handler movement there, but Dogmax coming down in a great defensive zone. We've seen a lot of zone defense this weekend as conditions haven't been optimal for overhead throws and a lot of more dynamic options. And so we're seeing a lot of success from that zone as well, forcing players to either make 30, 40, 50 passes to work around the zone or to try and go over the top, which is a questionable option to wind. Big, meaty fake from Wilson. Michael Downey not seeing a lot develop in that downfield space. Those long options aren't going to come as easily because of A, that zone pressure, and B, that huge amount of wind. To try and keep a disc long and flat is a difficult thing. They normally have a little height that comes with them. Furness making a great crash through that zone. Calling a violation. So they're just coming in. Just a reminder that those players in that zone have to maintain a certain distance from the player with the mark. They're not able to crowd them like you might see in a lot of other sports. Michael Downey with a big shot. Great bid from Nauman. Says not today, despite great offensive positioning by Lehigh Kapoor. We're going to see that again. Just puts one out there. Lehigh trying to keep that in bounds, but no such consideration for 24 for Dogmax Nauman, who makes a great bid, great defensive pressure there. And that's exactly what the Dogmax zone is trying to do. It's trying to frustrate the offense, trying to force them to work. Mance pressured by Jackson. Those zone defenses absolutely doing fantastic job, just making Hammertron work to the point where their tempers get the better of them, and they start sending lower percentage options that Dogmax are able to really pressure and eat up. So Fernando with the disc now, joined by Mance in the handle space. A really, really high release over the top of Furness, but kept in. A great score, followed by a gratuitous dive as the momentum carries him outfield. Campbell Nauman taking the lead for the first time in this game against Hammertron Tawhiri. We get to see that again. What a privilege it is. Mance going to be looking for Fernando, who we're going to see use his height, put a backhand up and over, despite coverage by the pressure from that Hammertron defense. Nauman's going to go for it. Smile for us, Campbell. You done your mum proud. So now the momentum, the pendulum of Ultimate having swung in the other direction. We're going to see Dogmax come back down on defense. Hammertron with an offensive opportunity here. So a game to 15, 63 minutes on the clock. The score currently 3-2. Again, this game so tense, so tight, I'm starting to lose track of what words I'm trying to use. Wilson and Vaughan to initiate the offense for Hammertron. Some great textbook disc movement. Puts a long shot up. Taiapa's there. McLaren with a great cut in that end zone. Not a lot of coverage, but just a low option. Wilson goes vertical. Finds Michael Downey. To the lanky Yankee, far sideline. David Jackson, number 9, puts one up the line to McLaren. Looking for that option, but a great run through D by Dogmax. Gives them back possession. Mance doing some great work in that handler space. Worden with a great cut, covered by the Tron defense, finds Fernando instead. Wants to put the bomb up. Instead, close targeting that far sideline. Aguilar, Mance. Sam Taylor-Linnartz. Oh, possible injury there. So 2 injuries. So we're seeing 2 injuries in this game already as the wind picks up. Looks like maybe a collision between a knee and a head, so an injury sub will be called. That is one of the perils of this being the 4th game of the 2nd day of a 3-day tournament. Fatigue starts to set in as players fight hungrily for those top spots for position and pool play, thinking about the path to the finals that they so desperately want to take. And when that fatigue sets in, we start seeing some lapse in judgment, some loss of focus, the possibility for injuries. So they're just coming back in. Teo Lenards puts one out, finds Worden. Low shot, gets turfed. Hammertron with a great opportunity. Michael Downey hoping to start something quickly, finds Wilson. Timeout called, brilliant call. So about 75 seconds from now, we'll resume play. It's been a very, very long point. We are half an hour into the game, and it's been a little less than 30 minutes. So each of these points have been long, which typically just means both teams are playing good defense. We've seen that in particular from Dogmax, some great run-through Ds, that fantastic effort by Naumann on that near sideline. And so Hammertron, 1 point down at the moment, but still seeing some smiling faces. Some great coaching from Furness, McLaren, Morehu Cookson. Maybe less coaching, more horseplay. But it's an opportunity for players to get some rest, to take their breath, to figure out what they want to do as they come back out on offense. Dogmax in a great position themselves, using this timeout to consolidate what they've been able to achieve. So 30 minutes into this game between Dogmax and Hammertron. Dogmax up, which is a bit of a surprise if we were to look at this game based solely on the record for the tournament this far. Hammertron having gone 4-1, scoring 31 more points than they've conceded. Dogmax currently 2-3, having conceded 4 more points than they've scored. So Hammertron having established a lot of momentum. Maybe it's a case of them having burnt themselves out. Maybe the candle that burns brightest burns quickest. A little bit more fatigue sitting in for that side, but still only 1 point difference. It's anyone's game. Still a little less than an hour to play until we hit that soft cap. Both teams racing to 15. One break could be all it needs, or one hold to swing things in the other direction. Wilson now, big fakes, marked by Worden. Sends the bomb. Hamish Furness. Such ridiculous acceleration from him. I've never seen anyone run quite like it. The elbows tucked in at the sides. He leans and he is gone like there are rockets strapped to the soles of his feet. There are few things in life that have made me laugh more than the look on Hamish Furness's face anytime he is running deep for a disc. Anytime he knows he's got separation, he's looking back, he's egging on his offensive handler to just put one up for him. And if you want to experience the joy of Ultimate, don't be afraid. Go down to the warehouse, the Red Shed, the mighty Red Shed. Anywhere, find yourself a plastic disc, go down to a park, look online, see if there are any pickup games or scrimmages in your area. Our players in the Ultimate community in New Zealand would be more than happy to teach you how to throw, to teach you the basics of the game. And if you really want to take things to the next level, go to ariadiscs.com and get some of the highest quality flyable plastic in the world. Lehigh Kapoor initiating the great quick offensive break there after the turn. So some fantastic disc movement, disc going a little bit low, trying to combat that wind. We're going to see that here as we try and swing. Worden pressured heavily by Wilson, sends one low and flat just outside the reach of the diving, bidding Mance. Kapoor quickly finds Matua McLaren, a quick one dish over to Furness, managing to secure the point that he wasn't able to before. The score now 3-all, a close game, probably the closest we've seen on stream so far. We've seen comebacks, we've seen upsets, we've seen walkaways. We had Exiles and Hive. A fantastic game. We cannot stop talking about it. 5-1 at one point in favor of Exiles, only to have the fortune swing back the other way. So we've seen some fantastic ultimate over the last couple of days. We're continuing to see some fantastic ultimate now. Dignam, Bennett, Weimer. Some great classic names on that Dogmax line. Hammertron fielding some of the same. Franson, Dio, Downey again, unwilling to take a sub. Jaden Frost, the mighty Hon, Morehu Cookson. So some great defense on display, hopefully. Maybe looking to generate a turn. Dogmax looking to break through. Unwilling as Manang fires the big bomb. The wind carrying it a little bit further away. Dogmax hoping to seal out those points early. They were able to take the lead. They did a great job there. And so it's a good territorial option for them, but we know what the Hammertron offense is capable of. We know they prioritize that quick, short-range movement. Alex Dio in that handler space. Frost with a great undercut. Tony Franson looking to streak deep. The disc not coming despite great downfield work. Morehu Cookson goes up. Tips off his fingers. Manang closes that out. Possession returning to Dogmax now. So we're going to see some defense now from Hammertron. Look to be isolating those matchups. Some person defense. Downey applying enough pressure to generate a slip and fall. The reset comes off the fingers of Manang, and otherwise very confident handler. Great hands, particularly in that upfield handler space. Michael Downey threads one through, finds Tony Franson. We're seeing a lot of Fransons in the Hammertron club lately. Jaden Frost. Off the fingertips of Morehu Cookson one more time. Great defensive hands. Long bomb. Downey goes up clean. And that is why he's found himself on this defensive line for Hammertron. Cam Bennett looking to cover that. Manang, great put forwards to Weimer for the score. DMX, X gon' give it to you as Dogmax go up 1 point, making the game 4-3. Hammertron coming down on offense. Those old hands. McLaren, Wilson, Kapoor, Downey, Furness, Taiapa, Jackson. A great line under any circumstances, but this Dogmax defense managing to generate those turns and closing out the points. What do I have to do to get myself a pair of those Credo shorts? That's the real question. Nauman, once again, a standout player for that Dogmax line. Some great scores, particularly that one in the front corner a few points ago. Great defensive player, huge amount of pressure. Great throws, we're going to see it here. Big lefty pull. Sends it long. Downey, Hamfish to initiate that offense for Hammertron. Finds McLaren working the far sideline now. Kapoor doing great work in that handler space lately. But there's the run through D. Dogmax getting a turn yet again, hoping to take it to a 2-point game. Hammertron looking to play person defense, trying to rely on their athleticism to seal those matchups. And there it is, a great score. Worden comes down with it. We'll see that one again. Naumann to initiate after the turn, marked by Taiapa. Sends the lefty forehand up and big. Despite great bid by McIntosh and McLaren, it's Worden who comes down with it. A cheeky disc spike there. We hope in great spirits there. So Dogmax up by 2, 5-3 against the God of Storms, Hammertron Tawhirimatia. Great work by Dogmax, seeing them fight this hard in this game. Despite having come off a couple of losses over the course of this tournament, they are still playing with amazing fire, amazing energy. We're seeing Mance, Fernando take the line, Bennett. Just some really, really great plays, particularly on defense, and able to convert on offense. Taylor Nance as well. Just really, really excellent work by Dogmax, playing things 1 point at a time, the way things need to be played. Long pull, great work by Dogmax behind the Hammertron offense, and with a little bit of roll, it's going to take them some time to catch up. Plenty of time for the defense to get into position. Call's been made, maybe some conversation needing to be had. Possibly a travel called. So as Kapoor looked to initiate the offense, finding McLaren, the thrower in possession of the disc cannot run. They establish a pivot point around which they can move as much as they like for the 10 seconds that the defense applies the stall count. But if that point is moved, then a player on the defense can call a travel and cause play to reinitiate from where that pivot point should have been. So we're seeing Wilson on that near sideline now. Goes up and back. A little bit of pinball played there between Wilson and Kapoor, which is exactly what we want to see from that Hammertron side. We know they favor that small ball ultimate. Great swings out to the far sideline. Trying to work around that zone. So the wind seems to have settled a little bit, but that zone still forcing those Hammertron players to make those passes back and around and through the zone, forcing them to work it. Just trying to force as many passes as possible. Great cut there by Kapoor to find himself open. Still on that near sideline. Patience. Finds Downey. McLaren to Furness. Great acceleration to find that space. A laser beam through to David Jackson. The lanky Yankee putting one on the board. A 1 point game. Hammertron Tawhirimatia 4. Dogmax still in the lead with 5 as we have 47 minutes left on the clock. We're going to get to see that again. Some great movement, great vision. Forced to look backwards. Engages the defender, shifts him out of the way, and then fires a dead shot straight through to close out that point. Great offense there by Hammertron. Hammertron to come down one more time on defense, hoping to tie the game. Dogmax on offense, a great opportunity for them to chip open that score again. Manang and Naumann. Great disc movement there, trying to work past that Hammertron zone. Dignam in the deep space, a huge threat. Pulls it down. Bennett right on the doorstep, looks back to find Teo Lenards. Nauman, one more time. Can score off just about any throw. Instead looks to reset to the far sideline. Tries to jump it in, not quite there. Puts a big one up. Despite the great bid from Morehu Cookson, it's not enough. Fantastic score there by Teo Lenards. (6-4) now. Dogmax over Tron. We get to see that again. Now I'm a little bit disappointed. Puts the blade up. Teo Lenards leaping through time and space. Still a 2-point game thanks to great defensive work by Dogmax. Hammertron a little on the back foot, needing to find something, some secret reserve of energy if they want to keep themselves in this game. Great put again by Mance. Dio Fields finds Furness. And Downey. So we're seeing Hammertron come out of a bit of more of a classic offensive structure here, but having to keep things flexible to working as that zone. David Jackson on that far sideline looking to develop a deep cut as he passes back to Wilson, to Furness, to Wilson again. Has that great separation from his defense, but we've talked earlier in a couple of games about the importance of those same third throws and how difficult they can be. Now we saw Hammertron Agents of Field, Simone Ball managing to make a couple of those work, but typically those throws are going to come in over the head of the intended receiver. It's really hard for them to get a read on it, which just adds to the defensive pressure from the other side. So we talk a little about strong space and weak space in terms of where a thrower can put a disc out into. And typically those cuts want to come from the weak space where it is harder for them to move to into that strong space to make things as easy as possible for the handler, who's quite often under some of the most pressure from the defense. Bit of a rules clarification here possibly as a call was made. So that is a contested call there. The disc will return to Furness, who can initiate from here, though he's lost that momentum that he was able to put into those clean throws. Marked by 54 for Dogmax, Fernando. Puts the shot up anyway. Looks like deja vu. Wilson pinned down a little. Fernando rather with those big outstretched arms trying to make it work. Dio right on the doorstep. Now to Wilson. Taiapa in great space there. But Hammertron still chipping away at the disc. Stoppage. Seeing a lot of calls made in this game. I don't think the calls are being made unnecessarily. I think it's the competitive level of play from these two teams getting very fired up as we close out day two. Such a close game. It's hard not to let that, that competitive pressure generate those opportunities for potential contact. A violation. So before the disc came in, a little bit much movement there. The bidding Wilson not able to secure the point. Dio with a great hand block there to generate the turn. A little celebratory fist bump for him there. Michael Downey to try and initiate and close this one out. A questionable throw, but it comes away anyway. Wilson right in the breadbasket. Hammertron now making it a one-point game, coming back down on defense. We'll see that again. Great defensive pressure by Dogmax, generating those turns, trying to force those options. Again, just constantly trying to frustrate the offense. One of the benefits of coming out and playing offense like Dogmax are doing so well in this game is that your two options are to either get beaten, which is expected, or to generate a turn and score off it, which is just an icing on the cake. Offense, on the other hand, your options are to do your job and score or get beat. And so now we will see where the luck lies. Hammertron, Tawhiri Matia about to bring the disc down with a monster pull, hopefully for them, as they come down on defense. Utilizing a lot of their youth and athleticism to try and isolate those individual matchups rather than necessarily targeting space, as we've seen a lot of other teams do, though the wind is settling down, and so it could be that the zone might be less effective. You're crowding areas that the players can still target with great throws. Manang, early initiation. Finds O'Hara. Pressure on that defense, and the disc is dropped just inside the end zone. Matua McLaren wants to close this one out. Frost, despite double coverage, pulls that one down. A good score there. So that's going to be it as we go 6-6. Anyone's game. What a great bid. If you see that, he caught the disc with both hands, recognized the possibility for collision, and tucked his head as he turned to try and avoid as much contact as possible. Turns out the self-preservation instinct is strong in number 67. Jaden Frost for Hammertron Tawhiri Matia. Despite some of the bids we've seen him make today, he clearly wants to be alive at the end of the tournament. Dignam, Weimer, Nauman, Bennett, Manang and O'Hara. Dogmax wanting to this offensive hold. McLaren with a big pull, really high. Wind looking to carry it outside the field. And Nauman gives the signal to Brick. Nauman, a great left-hander. Some fantastic monster discs that we've seen from him put up. Playing as a left-handed person can be quite difficult for the defense to adjust to. Quite often you find unnecessary calls as they'll pivot with the wrong foot, which players will often attribute to a travel. But there's also the fact that if you are trying to force your offensive player to throw their forehand, that's the wrong side as a lefty. And so you're quite often opening them up to use a really powerful backhand to create space downfield. A scuba over the top to Manang. O'Hara, far sideline. Pinned down by Kapoor. But Dogmax break free, managed to work the swing. Find Nauman, sends the long shot, low and flat. Oliver Houghton making a great defensive block there and streaking deep, trying to open something up for the Hammertron offense, but it doesn't come. A big bid there. So Worden giving a bit of perspective as well as to what happened. Looks like it was a great layout bid, but possibly didn't have contact or control of the disc rather before he'd made contact with the outside of the field. So the resolution looks to be that the disc was out. It's checked in by Ian McLaren, hoping to re-establish that defense. Morgan O'Hara to initiate the offense for Dogmax. Great bid there by the young Frost. That is what defense does. Downey, Kapoor. Working that far sideline. Hammertron hoping to retake the lead in this game. Great up the line cut by Downey, finding that space. Dignam setting up the mark. An absolute powerhouse in her own right. Puts the high backhand up for a second layout by Ian McLaren for the score as Hammertron go. 7-6 over Dogma. It looks like Weimer gave him the quick tip. Hey, the disc knows you laid out last time, you laid out this time, and you ended up with the score. Michael Downey putting one out into space. That's textbook McLaren, always looking to lay out for the grab, getting up with a smile on his face. Hammertron walking out with their defensive line now. 1 point away from taking half, a very, very close game. Reminder that as a game to 15, the first team to score 8 points will take half. There's a massive psychological advantage to having sealed that one away, put those points on the board, and coming out strong. That said, Dogmax have shown that they can come back from small deficits like the ones Hammertron have been able to chip away in this game and in others. Dio with the pull. Manang O'Hara looking to initiate. Finds Nauman. Person defense. Taylor Nartz unmarked. Maybe more of a zone by Hammertron now. Targeting that space. Taylor Nartz able to work through the disc, just those short give and goes, able to hit the disc in motion, looks back around the zone to Fernando. O'Hara again. Nauman now, far sideline. Just great aggressive fakes, looking to shift that defense. Doing such fantastic work to keep possession while also trying to slowly chip away at the downfield. There it is, the Nauman scuba finds Manang working back to O'Hara, trying to keep the stall count low. So that player on the mark there, we can see currently Tony Franson has 10 seconds to count out before there's an automatic turnover. Manang, great into space. Just absolutely clinical ultimate to see here. It's so wonderful. What a great privilege we have to be here able to host this tournament and be able to see the kind of showcase that Kirikiriroa and Christchurch are able to put on display. Great defense there by Hammertron, generating a turnover. One more time, Michael Downey to initiate. puts one through, finds Tony Franson working around. Oliver Houghton, Dio. The young boy is making their presence known on that Hammertron offensive line. Finds Frost. Great one through, finding Dio. Franson looking to close. Uses the force to get that mark over. What a great score. Just huge, huge fake, getting a massive bite out of the defense. The pressure setting in as we approach that end zone. Dio making a great cut across. We'll see that again. Opens things up. Finds Tony Franson. Big fake, getting a bite. There's the separation for the score as Hammertron go up by 2 points, taking the first half of this, the fourth game of the second day of the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. What an absolute ride it is, full of turns, bids, layouts, big Ds, huge leaps. But for now, my name is Blair Munro with the Puna Sports Hub in beautiful Christchurch, and we will be back with you shortly. Welcome back, everyone at home and those here who have joined us at Puna Sports Hub in beautiful Christchurch for this, our pre-semi-final, our quarterfinal match between Hammertron, Tawhiri and Dogmax. Hammertron having just taken half. The score currently 8-6 in favor of the boys in black. Hammertron playing out of the dark uniforms on your screen at the moment. Hamish Furness, Ian McLaren, David Jackson, Vaughan Wilson, Manaya Taiapa, Lehigh Kapoor, and Michael Downey versus Dogmax playing from the left-hand side of your screen in the light uniforms. Campbell Nauman with the disc, unsurprisingly. Great pressure. We're seeing Samuel Aguilar, Richard Fernando, Mance, Weimer by the looks. Hammertron starting off the game with 2 points and then trading, losing the lead to Dogmax. A close game, probably the closest game we've seen in terms of even momentum between these two teams. Hammertron with an opportunity on offense now to widen that score slightly, putting themselves up 3. Dogmax unwilling to let them have that opportunity, so we'll see some great defense there. It's what Campbell Nauman is known for. A lot of float on that pull fielded by Michael Downey. Great movement by Fernando trying to seal off Hamish Furness. Hamish Furness with separation regardless. Running once again fast enough to the hat to come clean off his head, but a little bit off. So now Hammertron playing defense, but in a great position to do so. If nothing else, the throw gave them a lot of territory. It'll come in just in front of that orange cone you can see on your screen at the moment. So Hammertron have a great opportunity to pin down the mighty Dogmax in that back corner. But again, Campbell Nauman on the mark with the mighty left hand. Sends the forehand upfield. Great verticality by David Jackson, number 9, the lanky Yankee, showing his length as he goes up, denying Fernando the reception. Despite a great second bid to try and keep it alive, Hammertron now working the disc, making great use of those triangle cuts to open up space to shift the defense. A huge, huge bid. Hammertron still working the disc around. McLaren now right in the red zone. Puts a beam through to Furness. And quick around, late bid and a tumble. But a score nonetheless. Hammertron going up 9 over Dogmax's 6. A little over 21 minutes left on the clock until we hit soft cap. Still a race to 15. Anyone's game, but as that time ticks down, we get closer to the point where we will conclude the point being played, add 1 to the highest score. A lefty backhand, no less, from Hamish Furness. The cheeky throw, a great option. I'm sure Campbell Nauman would agree the lefty backhand is the throw to go to, although he might be a little bit biased as a left-handed player himself. So now Hammertron coming down on defense. Dogmax, we know their offense can apply a huge amount of pressure. They've got good, clever disc movement. They have those long options. They've got threat receivers. They've got Fernando and Dignam on the line, comfortably able to outpace just about anybody else in the division. Question is, can they utilize those great deep threats to effect and pull this back to a 2-point game? Ian McLaren with the pull. Teo Lenartz, O'Hara. Just good, clean disc movement, threading one through to Fernando in the midfield. Working through the Hammertron defense. Weimer, Dignam, clean deep, great option there. Covered now by Morehu Cookson in that deep space. Weimer puts one through. Missed timing off Taylor Nartz's undercut to try and keep that stall count low. Generating a turn as it bobbles off the hands. Alex Dio working that far sideline. McLaren puts a long one up. Jaden Frost jumping up, pulling it down. A great score. Some fantastic work as Hammertron go up by another 10 points over Dogmax's 6. Slowly widening that gap, but still anyone's game with the legs, the speed, the disc skills of Dogmax. They could definitely pull it back. Hammertron cannot afford to let up the pressure at all. Bennett, Fernando, O'Hara, Nauman, Manang, Taylor Nartz and Dignam on the line for Dogmax. The magnificent 7 in any circumstance coming down on offense. Great chase there by Hammertron, but not fast enough to stop that first pass. Manang and Taylor Nartz, we saw those two handlers in particular do some great work during the Division 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships held right here in November last year. Puts a big rip, a big OI backhand, a huge amount of float. Nauman, to the surprise of few, pulls it down. Comfortable crossfield swing to Dignam. Dignam recognizing with some of those larger lads underneath that disc, her best option was to trust in her teammates and get into space for a quick continuation. We're going to see that again. There goes the rip. Despite double coverage, Nauman comes down with it and finds the wide open Dignam. Could have almost caught that with her eyes closed. Number 53 for Dogmax, fantastic performance from this side. The score now 10-7. Taylor Nartz's dog in the background. Shout out to Ollie. Obi, sorry. How anyone in the stands is able to hold, is able to breathe at all from the dynamic play that we're seeing here. All the air sucked out of the lungs, drawn onto the field to ignite the fire both of these teams are burning for us. A big OI pull, going to come down with a steep angle. Great roll there. Goes past the initial attempt to stop it. Only shut down by Taiapa. Dogmax with a great four-person cut by the looks of things. Fernando sitting in that mid-space that he loves so well. Able to read and respond to a lot of threats using his experience and athleticism. Wilson puts one up. Kapoor in great position to keep working downfield. David Jackson wanting to establish a great cut for himself in that space. Hamfish keeps it alive. Number 7, Hamish Furness for Hammertron. McLaren now. Lehigh Kapoor in great space, but currently inactive, waiting for his moment to open something up. Downey and Furness working the disc, working with McLaren. There's the great cut from Jackson, finding a nice under opportunity. A violation's called. The discussion with Worden. 2 number 9s. We do love those mirror matches. I'll just have that conversation about. So the disc will come back in. David Jackson hoping to close, instead forced back to Hamish Furness. Michael Downey with a great grab, right on the doorstep, ready to knock. That was very, very contacty. Sending Hamish Furness to the ground. No mean feat. Possibly not a great bid. The turn goes back the other way. Michael Downey covering Fernando just enough to get that defensive pressure there. Hammertron with another opportunity. Again, we know that this particular Dogmax line, as well as the others, have those great handlers in Manang and Teo Lenarts who can put those shots long in almost any weather. But great defensive pressure able to give Hammertron back the disc. Targeting that far sideline. Kapoor over the bidding. Aguilar. Taiapa right in the zone. So close to success. Great pressure from Dogmax, forcing that Hammertron offense to work backwards instead of forwards. Slowly chipping back that ground, not giving them easy options. It's really great pressure that we're seeing here. Recognizing that even if they do score, as they do pull one down, Vaughan Wilson taking us to 11-7 with a little over 13 minutes left on the clock, that even if that Hammertron defensive line are able to get the score, that it's cost them a lot of energy to do so. Great work there by Hammertron, widening up the gap, but still not sealing out the Dogmax offense. Just some great work by Dogmax. We're going to see them take mostly the same line, minimizing the number of subs, just really showcasing the conditioning, the effort that they've put into preparing for this tournament. It's the Open Championships. There is almost always a road to the final, particularly when we're looking at these higher bracket matches. Dio with the pull. It is a great sign for the future of New Zealand Ultimate, as some of these youth players, young players, really establishing themselves in that open division, showcasing the kind of skill that some of our older hands have taken a career to develop. We do stand on the shoulders of giants. Teo Lenarts signaling someone to go deep. He's got the cannon for it. And the disc having touched a blade of grass before it finds the hands of Weimer. Certainly the call from Hammertron that the disc was down. Hopefully we might get another look at that, see if we can have our perspective, though, as it is a self-officiated sport with no external arbiters, all the players on the field acting as referees for one another. It will be their call as to what the conclusion of this stoppage is. So the call's been retracted, so Weimer will retain possession of the disc. The Dogmax offense. A little over 10 minutes left on the clock. Checked in by Franson. Manang, O'Hara. Teo Lenarts in that handler space, doing some great work there. for the Dogmax offense, trying to keep it in possession. As we say in Ultimate, the disc doesn't lie, and so a second shot finds the ground a couple of meters out from the Hammertron end zone. Big fake by Michael Downey. Instead pushes to the far sideline. Finds Houghton. Alex Dio. Hammer fake, trying to shift something in the defense, trying to create an opportunity there as Michael Downey makes a great strike cut, slashing from his defender up across the front of the disc. We'll see that again. A little shoulder shimmy to try and commit Teo Lenartz, giving him just enough space to step that disc into the end zone as Hammertron go up by one more. 5 points now ahead of Dogmax as they go 12-7. So a timeout has been called. A great opportunity for Hammertron to celebrate their recent successes, a run of a few points. Dogmax to remind themselves that they were down 2 at the beginning of the game, and they were still able to fire back and take back the lead. They have the skills, they have it in them to walk away with a victory at this point. The timer that we've shown on your screen so far is only our soft cap, so it establishes what the final points total to be played will be. If neither team reaches 15 points before that timer hits 0, we will conclude the point being played as that timer hits 0, add 1 to the highest score, and both teams will simply be racing to that point. Hammertron defensive line. Houghton, Frost, Kapoor, Hon, Franson, McLaren, and Morehu Cookson. Against the Dogmax offense, Manang, Bennett, O'Hara, Taylor Nards, Nauman, Dignam. And Gross. A little over 7 minutes on the clock now before we hit that soft cap. Still anyone's game, but the momentum currently in Hammertron's favor. Big pull, very, very high. At just enough time for the defense to get in position. Great cut by Cameron Bennett, sending one long, low and flat. Nauman, secure hands, finishes that one off. Great score by Simon Gross, making his presence known on the field, carefully, respectfully placing the disc on the ground. A workman like Simon Gross absolutely has to respect his tools. And so gently placing it on the turf after a great score. Bennett putting the long shot up. Bid by Houghton, but not enough to work around the secure hands of Nauman. Gross completely uncovered in that end zone. A great score and great care as Dogmax put another on the board, going 8-12. Nauman seems to have been injured after that collision. Just great work by Dogmax, not willing to give it up without a fight. Never stopping those engines firing, not allowing themselves to cool down, not resigning themselves to defeat. Because in Ultimate, it is never over until the final point is scored. Any deficit can, in time, be overcome. So we're going to see the Dogmax defense come down. Weimer trying to mark out Wilson, managing to do a great job of sealing those long bombs Wilson's known for. Finds McLaren, slight overthrow to Kapoor, generating that turn for Dogmax. A great opportunity there as Fernando walks past the disc, trying to establish himself as a great initiation cutter. Worden to pick up, supported by Mance. 15 meters or so from the end zone. Little miscommunication off a great initiation cut by Fernando, but giving the disc back to Hammertron. Furnish puts one up. Great put. Downey getting the read, managing to chop Sepp, cut under just behind Fernando. And it looks like a timeout will have been called. So again, as the clock ticks down, a long point being played, lots of swings in both directions, and that big shot having been made by Hamish Furness and finding Downey in the midfield. They might be using this timeout to just catch their breath, make sure everyone's on the same page, but also re-establish their offense, as that throw came down a lot lower than I think anyone was expecting. There weren't that many players in front of the disc to allow Hammertron to use that flow-based offense they've become known for and continue working upfield. But again, as we come out of this timeout, we're going to see Hammertron set up their offensive structure first. We will see Dogmax respond by setting up their defensive structure, and that gives Dogmax a great opportunity, if they're going to continue to work that zone, to have it in place, ready to go, stop those first long passes and force that disc movement wide, which is going to just keep generating those passes and making those passes, and eventually an error or a misjudgment will slip in and give Dogmax the opportunity to work back from that midfield space. Less than 3 minutes on the clock, currently 4 minutes in it. The idea of a soft cap, one of the greatest things I think about Ultimate, aside from the spirit of the game, the self-officiated play, the idea of a soft cap meaning that a team can't simply hold on to the disc at that sort of 2 minute, 3 minute mark when there's not time left on the clock and there might be a few points for their opposition to score. They cannot just sit on the disc and hold it. They have to score a point to finish the game, which means they have to play, and that means that the opposition always has a chance to come back until the winning team finally scores that last point. Michael Downey, supported by Hamish Furness, looking to set up in that hexagonal structure they've become known for. Watch out for an initial deep cut from Lehigh Kapoor on the left side of your screen now. Particularly as his player is poaching under, so he's sitting quite a way away, not marking as tight in terms of man defense. Maybe respecting Kapoor's speed. Great bid by Mance, but Furness keeps it. Sends one through to McLaren. McLaren to Jackson. A needle threaded through, puts one out to Downey. Tries that same strike cut up again, manages to get a tumble from Fernando with the great agility on display there. McLaren finishing one off. Not quite, great bid there from Wilson, but just outside his reach. A possible additional injury, we'll see that one again. A great IO inside out throw. A great disc movement by Hammertron, but they're unable to close it out. And so Mance will be looking to initiate the offense for the Dogma side. Great work making it out of that corner with a little less than 20 seconds, sorry, left on our soft cap clock. Big shimmies to shift the mark. Great reception there by Theo McIntosh. Great downfield progress. Weimer to Fernando for a great score. We have ourselves a game to 13. The soft cap having gone. Dogmax closing out the point to bring it 9-12. We add one to the highest score. Teams racing to 13. Hammertron one offensive hold away from victory in the quarterfinals. Dogmax, 4 breaks necessary on the cards to win it, but they can do it. We've seen them do it. We've seen them generate those turns against this Hammertron side. As always, anyone's game to win. Great pull there from Mance. One more time, Dogmax to come down on defense. Furness, Downey initiating the offense for the Hammertron side. Taiapa in great position on that near sideline, sends his long bombs that he's known for. Wilson reeling it in for a great score as we go 13-9. Hammertron taking the quarterfinals. What a great performance there by both sides. Hammertron Tawhiri walking away with the win. Dogma, DMX on your screen, applying great pressure. They are going to make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. But a long bomb from Taiapa, great running from Wilson to pull that one down. Could not have asked for a better game to close out this, the second day of tournament play for the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships at Ngā Puna Sports Hub in beautiful Christchurch in the South Island of New Zealand. 13-9, Hammertron, they will be proud of themselves. But for now, in conjunction with support from SkysportNext and We Are Canterbury, my name is Blair Monroe, and we'll see you again soon.